about Srila Prabhupada. So I've been writing a book about my times with Prabhupada and about Prabhupada and about how I became a devotee and everything. So I will read some of the 2 or 3 chapters that I wrote. Okay? Is that good? You're happy? One morning, the news spread very quickly that the Srila Prabhupada was going to be honored with the Yugacharya Award from the Vrajacharya Pit and Radharaman Temple of Vrindavan at a ceremony to be conducted at the Radharaman Temple. This was a very prestigious award, which would announce to the Vaishnava world that indeed Srila Prabhupada had achieved a magnificent accomplishment by spreading Vaishnava Dharma to the whole world. Srila Prabhupada was not concerned for his personal recognition. However, he felt that this award was a validation of his service to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada. And therefore, it was an honor to his Guru Maharaj. However, the joy quickly dissolved as the news of one Goswami's opposition to the award created a firestorm of controversy. The source of the controversy is as follows. In 1971, Hayagriva Prabhu spent some time in Vrindavan with Srila Prabhupada. During that time, Hayagriva Prabhu took many notes of what Srila Prabhupada was saying about the Holy Dham. Later, Hayagriva Prabhu, who had a degree in journalism, wrote a book about his experiences called Vrindavan Days. An article based on those experiences appeared in Back to Godhead magazine, number 53, published in 1973. The title of the article was With Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan. In that article, Hayagriva Prabhu narrates how he is surveying the scene in Vrindavan. He gives a description of the dogs, hogs, and monkeys of Vrindavan moving about according to their propensities. Then he quotes Srila Prabhupada as making the following statement. It may not be very palatable to hear, Srila Prabhupada says, but there is a reason for so many dogs, hogs, and monkeys in Vrindavan. The Goswamis who live in Vrindavan and outwardly observe the religious forms, but secretly commit all kinds of sinful activities, take birth as dogs and hogs in Vrindavan. In this way, by touching the dust of Vrindavan, they become purified. Then, after a life as a hog, they are liberated. There was one Goswami who had read this article and he showed it to the heads of the Radharaman Mandir and other Vaishnavas. He then asked them what they intended to do about it. How could we give the Yuga Acharya Award to someone who was so critical of the Goswamis of Vrindavan? He asked. It did not take them long to call off the award presentation. Excuse me. I hit this button. It did not take them long to call off the award presentation. This was not what any of us expected, especially Srila Prabhupada. He called for the magazine article to see if he had been quoted inaccurately. He read the passages carefully and found only a slight error that would not substantially change the meaning of what he said. He stood by his words and let fate take its course, leaving it all in the hands of Krishna, as he had done so many times before. I went to Srila Prabhupada's room and saw his mood. He was very grave. If what had happened was upsetting to him, he was not displaying his emotions to devotees. He was very internal about the entire thing. My personal perception was that he was disappointed, not for himself, as I noted before, but for his Guru Maharaj and the glory that would be attributed to his Gurudev when he had received the title of Yuga Acharya, fulfilling the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Please remember, I am relating these stories based on how I personally interacted with Srila Prabhupada at the time. This is what I saw. It may be that Srila Prabhupada did express some diverse emotions earlier when it was first brought to his attention. However, I was not a witness to that, nor did I hear about it. So I am relating this event from how I personally experienced it. I felt upset that Srila Prabhupada was not going to get the award. I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to defend my Guru Maharaj. I wanted to try and talk to someone and change what had happened. But I did not know to whom or how or what to say to change things. So I felt powerless. However, Krishna must have noted my desire to defend Srila Prabhupada and rectify the situation. So, by Lord Krishna's transcendental arrangement, I eventually got my chance. Be careful what you wish for in Braj. It may come true. I am headed to Bombay on an airplane. A little bit larger. Why? I will tell you later, so as not to interrupt the flow of the story. As I enter the plane to take a seat, I see one man dressed in saffron. He appears to be sitting alone. I ask if I may sit with him. He says, fine. I begin to talk a little about Krishna consciousness. I notice he is visibly uncomfortable, so I am unable to get too familiar with him. And as a result, I did not ask his name. As we were deplaning and walking toward the airport lounge, I asked him, so what is your name? And where are you from? He reluctantly reveals his name. I am purposely not revealing the actual name of the person so as not to reopen an old wound, so please don't ask. I am so-and-so Goswami from Vrindavan. The hair begins to bristle on the back of my neck and my blood starts boiling. Are you the one who stopped Srila Prabhupada from receiving the Yuga Acharya award? I ask, with a tone of incredulity that to make sure he knows where I am going with this line of questioning. He was now red-faced and started to tremble a little, as he realized from the tone of my voice that I was going to be a force to be reckoned with. He looked at me and quietly said, yes, I am that person. Hoping that the tone of my voice would hoping that the tone of his voice would quiet the situation. I'm sorry, I can't see very well. I was in no mood to be pacified. There was no holding back my rage. Lifting my fist in the air and threatening him in a very direct manner, I shouted at him very loudly and drew the attention of over 100 onlookers in the Bombay airport. How dare you insult my Guru Maharaj, I shouted with rage in my voice. The man trembled and shifted uncomfortably. He was obviously not used to being threatened like this. I demand that you apologize to Srila Prabhupada, or I will beat you here and now. The crowd was now restless and concerned by my behavior. Why were two sadhus dressed in saffron engaged in an argument in the airport? They were confused by the nature of the situation, as in general, sadhus were supposed to be peaceful. However, they could understand from my statements that someone's honor had been insulted, and so they waited patiently for the outcome. The Goswami realized his predicament, and so he mustered up some courage and tried to turn the tables on me. I did not mean to cause any harm, but I was upset by his statements. Those statements were based on Shastra, I shot back. You know that. Why would you be upset about the truth unless you were guilty of such an offense? I stated in a manner that alluded to an accusation. He was now displaying some anger, but he held his tongue as he knew he was at a definite disadvantage going up against me. I want an apology, I demanded. Otherwise, I will beat you. I shouted as I continued to wave my fist in the air. He looked at me and saw that it was not possible to either oppose me or placate me in any other way than to apologize. I demand, okay, I will apologize to your guru, he said reluctantly. I lowered my fist and calmed down a little. Now raising my finger at him, I warned him in a stern voice. You had better apologize, or I will find you and make you apologize. He looked upset, but he did not want to provoke me any further. He decided to walk away without saying anything more or trying to win his point, although I could see in his eyes that he definitely wanted to try and make his case. I watched as he walked away, and I began to move toward the baggage claim. The crowd, now pacified that the incident was diffused, began to disperse and go about their business. I picked up my bag and got into a taxi and went to the land at Juhu Beach where Srila Prabhupada was staying. When I arrived, I went directly to Srila Prabhupada's room where he was sitting and talking with his secretary. Srila Prabhupada smiled when he saw me and said, "So, you have come." I smiled back, bathing in the effulgence of his divine grace. "Yes, Srila Prabhupada, I have come." "Very good," he said. "Was your trip okay?" This was Srila Prabhupada, very personal. He always wanted to know how the devotees were doing in India. He knew that it was a big sacrifice for us to be here, and so he was always making sure that we were comfortable and happily engaged. With Srila Prabhupada's question, I now had my opportunity to tell him what happened on the plane. My trip was fine, Srila Prabhupada, but something happened that I want to tell you about. Srila Prabhupada nodded and asked, "What happened?" This was my invitation to tell him. I sat next to one man on the plane who was dressed in saffron, and when we were getting off the plane, I asked his name, and he told me that he was so-and-so Goswami from Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada's eyes now opened wide. Demonstrating for Srila Prabhupada how I stood and raised my fist in the air, I began to relate the incident to him. I raised my fist and shouted at him in the middle of the airport that he had better apologize for insulting you by canceling the award ceremony or I will beat you. Srila Prabhupada was laughing. His eyes were bright. "Oh, you spoke like this to him?" Srila Prabhupada asked. "Yes," I continued. I told him, "How dare you insult my Guru Maharaj?" I was brimming with the youthful enthusiasm of a son who was explaining how he had defended the honor of his father. Srila Prabhupada knew what I was. A boy who grew up in the streets of Brooklyn, New York, fighting all the time. So he laughed and nodded his approval. "So," Srila Prabhupada began, "you defended the honor of your Guru Maharaj. Very good." Srila Prabhupada seemed to be very pleased with my simple offering of love, performed in the American way. I always felt his encouragement when I spoke with him. "So, did he agree to apologize?" Srila Prabhupada asked. Yes, I said, but I do not think he was very sincere about it. He was trying to get away from me. Yes, Srila Prabhupada said smilingly, you have backed up your argument with a big stick. I was now laughing. Go see Tamal Krishna and he will arrange a place for you, Srila Prabhupada advised. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, thank you. I offered my obeisances and left the room. Now there's one more piece to this story which happened a few days later in Bombay. This has to be told now so that the sequence of the entire story can be appreciated. First, a little setup. Once, in 1971, in New Orleans Temple, I heard a tape of Srila Prabhupada giving a lecture, and I think it was Los Angeles. As he was lecturing, we heard some noise in the background, and suddenly, there was a pause. Then Srila Prabhupada said, "Oh, Jayananda, you have come. I was just thinking about you, and now you have come." Wow, I thought. Srila Prabhupada was thinking about him and he appeared. What a blessing to be in the thoughts of the pure devotee. I wish that someday I could be in the thoughts of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada once said, his temples are as good as Vrindavan. But once again, you better be careful for what you wish for in Braj. It just might come true. Now back to the story. It did not take long for me to get the infamous Bombay belly, which was also jokingly called the buffalo belly because it felt like a herd of buffaloes was stampeding through your intestines. I counted 23 trips to the toilet one day. Enough toilet talk. So I was feeling pretty miserable, physically and emotionally. I was not able to go on the morning walk, but I just wanted to see Srila Prabhupada. I was convinced that if I could just see him in his room for a moment, I would feel better. So I walked over to the building he was in and climbed the stairs to his room on the second floor. Just as I got to the top of the stairs, the door swung open and Srila Prabhupada came through the door with an enormous smile on his face and a hearty laugh. Bhagavat Maharaja was standing in the doorway with him, holding the door. Srila Prabhupada saw me and spoke with a great joy in his voice that completely soothed my soul. "Oh, I was just talking about you," Bhagavat Maharaja. I was telling him how you told that Goswami, "Don't you insult my Guru Maharaj. You had better apologize or I will beat you." The entire time, Srila Prabhupada was shaking his fist in the air over his head in an imitation of me, all the while smiling and laughing as he spoke. "He has defended his Guru Maharaj," Srila Prabhupada said. All the devotees were laughing and smiling and saying, "Jai, Jai." Needless to say, I felt completely healed beyond my wildest imagination. There could not have been any better medicine in the entire universe for me at that moment in time than what had just transpired. Srila Prabhupada had transported me to the spiritual world and I felt as if I was a new person. Jai Srila Prabhupada. You are the transcendental doctor who dispenses the perfect medicine for the fallen conditioned souls. As a postscript to this, I want to add one more story, which although not directly related, has in my personal opinion a deep significance related to this pastime. On October 31st, 2003, in Braj village of Utgaon, Lalita Sakhi's village, the Vrajacharya Pith and the World Religious Parliament in Delhi jointly awarded Param Pujyapad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj the title Yuga Acharya. Just before and just after the festival, in his own Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, he told the devotees that he does not think himself qualified for such an honor. Actually, Srila Narayan Maharaj said, Srila Rupa Goswami should be honored with this title. So only on behalf of the previous acharyas like Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, will I accept this honorary title? Those words struck me as being very poignant, considering what had happened. In a way, I felt Srila Prabhupada had received his award through his Shiksha disciple, Srila Narayan Maharaj. On one particular day, I became aware of Srila Prabhupada giving a darshan in his room a little later than the other devotees. By the time I arrived at Srila Prabhupada's room, there were so many devotees in the room, this was in Vrindavan, that they were spilling out of the front door. Being taller than most of the devotees, I could see over their heads that there was room up in the front around Srila Prabhupada, but the devotees who were sitting there would not move closer to allow more devotees in. I surveyed the scene and then had a great idea. I left the struggling group at the front door and started walking around to the back side of the room where there was a window. As I approached the window, I looked in over the heads of the devotees at the window and saw that this was the window. I had seen from the door that was right next to Srila Prabhupada. And there was a small space between the wall and the asana where Srila Prabhupada sat, and a larger space on the floor in front to sit in. Perfect, I thought. I asked the devotees who were looking in the window to please step aside a moment. As they gave me access, I started to climb through the window, and the devotees in the room started laughing at the sight of the 6-foot-tall, 240-pound man climbing through the window. Srila Prabhupada asked, "What is the matter? Why are you laughing?" And they all pointed to the window and said, "Look, he's climbing through the window." Which I did rather quickly to my own surprise, as well as everyone else's. Srila Prabhupada had obviously turned to look and see who was climbing through the window and could not make out who it was at first. "Who is that?" Srila Prabhupada asked. Someone said, "It is Bhagavat Das." As I landed on the floor in a small space between Prabhupada's asana and the wall. As I was standing up, Srila Prabhupada recognized me and laughed, saying, "Oh, it is you." One devotee then said that I was a big life membership maker in Africa and collected a lot of money. As he was saying this, I was just finished standing erect right next to Srila Prabhupada's asana, and was so close to him as to be hovering over him. He looked up at this large young man from his seat, standing over him, and he said, "Yes, they are becoming life members out of fear." All the devotees broke into laughter. I broke into a smile and began to laugh. Srila Prabhupada was smiling and laughing as well. It was a very sweet exchange. During the festival, different groups of devotees from different parts of the world got a chance each day to meet with Srila Prabhupada. One temple after another from around the world would get their opportunity to have darshan with Srila Prabhupada and inform him about their preaching work in various parts of the world. Most importantly, the devotees were receiving some intimate and personal attention from their spiritual master. This was the person whom they had gladly sacrificed their youth, their education, their families, and their health to engage in the spiritual, sentence was clumsy. This was the person whom they had gladly sacrificed their youth, their education, their families, and their health for, in exchange for the spiritual happiness we were experiencing every day, chanting Hare Krishna. Not everyone had the kind of access to Srila Prabhupada that I had, and even I was restricted many times from seeing him. So for most devotees, this was their only opportunity to be up close and personal with Srila Prabhupada. Eventually it came that the devotees from Africa had their chance to meet with Srila Prabhupada. There were 4 of us: Brahmananda Swami, who was one of Srila Prabhupada's oldest and dearest disciples. Brahmananda Swami would not only have personal meetings and correspondence with Srila Prabhupada regularly, but he would also act as his private secretary on occasion for a month or so at a time. Shakti Mata was an elderly Punjabi lady from Kenya who had many friends and connections there. She was extremely helpful in engaging people from the Indian community in our preaching in Kenya. Arjuna Das, who was the second Kenyan brahmachari after Kandarpa Koti, and who was preaching to the Kenyan people and trying to make new devotees in the Kenyan community. And then there was me, Bhagavat Das, the life membership maker and fundraiser. Brahmananda and I had been shopping for the newly installed deities in Loy Bazaar. We were arranging to get outfits made, jewelry designed, and a variety of plates, cups, bowls, and other paraphernalia that was on a list given to us by the pujaris. We were now going to meet with Srila Prabhupada and show him the photographs of the deities that had been installed and ask Srila Prabhupada to give our deities a name. The four of us went into the room and offered our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. He was smiling and happy to see us all. He asked each of us how we were doing and how the preaching was going on in Africa. Brahmananda began to describe to Srila Prabhupada how the deity installation had been performed. Srila Prabhupada was eager to hear about every detail. As you may remember from a previous chapter in this book about Srila Prabhupada's pastimes in Africa, when Srila Prabhupada showed up for the deity installation in Nairobi, the Kenyan authorities would not allow him into the country. So Srila Prabhupada instructed Brahmananda Swami to conduct the ceremony anyway, and that he would come again at a later date. Now Brahmananda Swami was telling Srila Prabhupada some things about the deity installation and about our different preaching programs in Africa. Srila Prabhupada seemed to be very pleased to hear about the progress of his temples from all over the world. However, Africa was a uniquely diverse preaching field, as I have described before. And so Srila Prabhupada took a keen interest in what was going on there. Brahmananda Swami showed Srila Prabhupada the photographs of the deities after the installation. Srila Prabhupada was very happy, and he smiled broadly as he meditated on the transcendental forms of their lordships. It was at this point that Brahmananda Swami asked Srila Prabhupada if he would kindly give our deities a name. Srila Prabhupada looked at the deities intently and then said, Radhe Banke Bihari. Brahmananda Swami and I looked at each other with a surprised expression. We had heard of the deity, Banke Bihari, but we were thinking Srila Prabhupada might name the deities after one of the deities of the six Goswamis' temples. Srila Prabhupada craned his neck at an angle as he viewed the picture, and then moved his hand in a graceful yet crooked motion over the picture, saying, it means Krishna, who is crooked in three places. We both realized that Srila Prabhupada could see something in the deity that we could not, and accepted the name with great happiness. We all said, thank you, Srila Prabhupada. During the course of the conversation, Srila Prabhupada said something to me directly that took me by surprise, but answered a lot of questions that I had. I have told you before about my dream in New Orleans of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur giving me Harinam initiation, and of going to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Kuntir in Godruma earlier on in this festival tour, and seeing the room in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Kuntir that I saw in the dream, same room. Suddenly there was a slight lull in the middle of this conversation with Brahmananda Swami about Africa. At that precise moment, Srila Prabhupada turned and looked at me in the eyes very deeply and said, you and I have associated before, and we are associating now. It was very powerful, the way he said it, and made me feel an eternal connection with him. I was completely confident now that the dream about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was real, that I had associated with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in my previous life as a young child. After that, I must have associated with Srila Prabhupada at some point devotionally and perhaps in his business, as I was also an herbalist in my Grihastha ashram in this life. One day I walked into Srila Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan when there were several life members there talking to him. I just wanted to sit in the back and listen to Srila Prabhupada and associate with him, even though he was talking in Hindi. I just like to be a fly on the wall and feel the warmth of his presence while hearing the sound of his sonorous voice. As I entered the room, I offered my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. As I was standing up, Srila Prabhupada said to the life members, "This is my disciple, Bhagavat Das. He is very sincere." The men all offered me respects with folded hands, saying pranams. I returned the gesture. I felt a little humbled by the fact that Srila Prabhupada had spoken about me in this way for a second time. The first time was in Africa in the same situation, when I entered the room to see him while he was talking to life members. Srila Prabhupada had seemed to remember that I had asked him this question of him in Gainesville, Florida, when I was getting Harinam. I asked, how does one become sincere? Srila Prabhupada said, by being sincere. Now he was saying that I was sincere, however I felt far from it. Rather, I felt Srila Prabhupada was encouraging me to rise up to the level of being sincere. I'm still praying for that level of sincerity. Srila Prabhupada, please bless me with just a fraction of your sincerity so I may serve you better. The last pastime in Vrindavan that I remember is the one that changed the entire parikram. It was a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. There were hundreds of devotees from all over the world at the festival, and on this particular morning walk, there was the sannyasis like Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Brahmananda Swami, Panchadrivida Swami, Rabhakinandan Swami, and Subal Swami, as far as I can remember. And some of the temple presidents and leaders like Gurudas, Balavanta Prabhu, Korma the chef, Sadhaputta the scientist, Shruti Kirti, and others. During the morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was informed that the municipality of Bombay had rejected Srila Prabhupada's formal written request for the construction of a temple on the property in Juhu, citing as a reason that the kirtan was a nuisance to the surrounding neighbors. This was like a bomb to Srila Prabhupada. I do not have to explain to you the level of spiritual anger that was now welling up inside of Srila Prabhupada. Woe be to the Bombay municipality. You have provoked the transcendental lion-like Acharya of the modern age. Your future is dim. You can be sure that Srila Prabhupada will have his day in court. Srila Prabhupada began expressing his displeasure to all the devotees. Just see, Srila Prabhupada began, those rogues and rascals. They permit bars, nightclubs, and cinema halls, but not temples. How dare they say the kirtan is a nuisance? This is the Yuga Dharma, the one thing that will purify them, and they call it a nuisance? How shall we defeat them? Srila Prabhupada asked. And as he said this, he motioned to Balavanta Prabhu, who had run for political office in America. Balavanta Prabhu stepped forward. Well, Srila Prabhupada, we should counteract them with civil disobedience like Lord Chaitanya did with Chamkazi. We should organize massive Harinam Sankirtan parties all over Bombay. By performing Sankirtan, we will show them that the Sankirtan is not